What's up, bankers? We are here at the Indy Motor Speedway with the one, the only Jamie Chadwick. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thanks for having me.
We're so psyched to be talking to you.
Yeah, our producer Jenny was trying to make this happen for years.
Yeah, we've been. You're a hard person to track down.
Yeah.
You're busy. But we'll
use that as the excuse. No, I'm joking. I've just been, I've heard about this podcast, so can we not do it?
She's like, no, I've never heard of you guys.
She's like, I'm not busy. I just don't want to talk to you.
Exactly. And then I'm now being locked in this room and I can't leave.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so this is your second time at the Indy 5, right? Last year was your first?
Second, yes. No, I didn't go last year. I went in 2019.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, funnily enough, I was doing some stuff with Fernando Alonso's esports team at the time, and it was a year he didn't actually qualify. So he came out with a view to support and watch him, and he wasn't in the race.
Was that pretty... I mean, he's like my favorite driver. What was that like?
It was sad because he's one of my favorite drivers as well. And also being from Europe, I find it so cool when you see drivers come over and attempt this insane challenge. So I would have loved to have seen him do it that year. I mean, he'd obviously done it previously, but no, it's cool. I think it was kind of a blessing in a way because it meant I could just enjoy it as a fan, and I could literally just sit in the grandstands and just watch the race as a spectacle.
Was there a dark like thundercloud hanging over his garage, or?
I don't know. I never actually saw him after it. I think it was one of those things. It's part of it. I don't know if it's nicer in a way, but obviously there's only one car that got bumped out this year, and that year there were more. So it's, I guess, a bit nicer that you're not just one car.
Is that a matter of like there just happen to only be 34 cars this year, and then usually there's sometimes more? Because this year it felt especially cruel when the bump day is just one person.
Exactly.
I was like, this is so brutal.
Exactly. I don't know the answer to that, but I feel the same. It was so brutal. It's brutal anyway. I think every team, every driver gives so much for this one event in the year, and you obviously have a lot of build up, you have a lot of practice, and to know that you're not going to be racing, I would hopefully not want to be in that position ever, and couldn't imagine that feeling.
So you just came over from Europe. What's the biggest adjustment you've had to make coming over?
I guess from like a driving point of view or like racing professional point of view, everything's just very different. All new tracks, new team, new car. I've spent the last 3 years of my life doing the same sort of thing. I became very familiar with it, and just the comfort of knowing that gives you so much sort of, I guess, ease in what you go into. Whereas here, everything's new. So that's been an adaptation, trying to learn as quick as possible. And then from a personal point of view, I guess there's a lot more travel. I am still living in the UK, so I'm kind of going back and forth quite a lot, which is full on. Culturally, it's very different here. I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, just different in terms of food, just lifestyle, everything. So yeah, it's an adaptation, to say the least.
Well, we know you're a big foodie.
Yes.
And we know that you haven't maybe loved your experience in Indy.
I feel like I've thrown myself in under the bus with this comment.
Was it tough? Have you been getting glares?
Yes,
since you've been back?
Yeah. And it's been brought up a lot. And I see what people are saying. Right,
have restaurant doors been shut to you?
Yeah, exactly. No,
they hand you your thing. Hope you enjoy your meal.
I was going with the opposite. I was hoping I'll get like the full culinary experience, and it's didn't.
Right.
No, I mean what I kind of meant is not just actually Indy. It's more just generally. I guess, especially on race weekends, you want to be eating fairly clean, eat fairly well.
Right.
The amount of fast food that is just the go-to here, it blows my mind. Although there is good fast food, I have to admit that I have discovered some quite good stuff. Although it's probably not a racing driver's diet I should be promoting.
Sure.
Right, but but we know you like to cook, right? We've heard that. What's your go-to meal to cook?
I don't know about go-to meal. Anything I like to cook, to be honest. I like. I don't do a bad chicken curry. Which is a bit of a random one.
Well, you're English, and they love those the curries over there.
Yeah.
If you were to open a restaurant, a la Yuki Tsunoda, what kind of restaurant you think you'd open?
Oh, okay. This isn't. If it was like a proper dinner, like fine dining kind of restaurant, I think I would just do really good, simple, like European food. So like you'd have a really good steak on there, a really good fish dish, just something of everything that's just really good. If I actually had to genuinely open my own some sort of cafe shop or something, I would do a sandwich shop, because I think the sandwich is the most underrated dish in the world. It's not really a dish.
What's your fave?
Oh, I like a bit weird, but like a bacon, lettuce and avocado sandwich. It's just
a BLA.
Yeah.
BLT, but like
BLT, but no, it's a tomato avocado. Sub that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, the British people, they do those little sandwiches. I went to the Savoy and I had a coronation chicken, and I was like, why didn't anybody tell me about a coronation?
What's a coronation chicken?
I don't know how to describe a coronation
It's
chicken.
just delicious.
It's like chicken with it's got some sort of spices, and then I couldn't even tell you. It's like maybe
Just go to Savoy and get the little sandwiches.
You've gone in at the top. My sandwich shop probably won't be at that level.
It's
but
more a Fleabag
like a ham and
level?
cheese sandwich of but it's so basic, but just so good.
So back to within the racing, and you're coming over here from Europe, and the adjustment of that, and coming from like being in a series where you were dominating and now being in a series where it's a steeper learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not get too down on yourself? How do you stay positive? How do you take the little victories? What has been what has been that process for you in terms of this adjustment period?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think just having perspective. Really being clear as to where I'm at, where I want to be, obviously, but the reality of where I'm at the moment and what's got to be done to get to where I want to be. Obviously, I've gone from winning races and what I was doing, but the level is very different, and what I've come into is a good step up. I've got to be realistic about that. I'm not going to ever come from what I have and be able to come in and straight away be at the front. So I think just being realistic, but with that, using that as motivation to work as hard as I can and get back to where I ultimately want to be.
What have you taken from these first few races? What's do you think is the biggest thing you've learned in terms of this is the
thing I need to work on?
What's been the thing?
A few things. Physically has been a big one. Just getting stronger, getting bigger. The races are a lot longer. Tougher. That's been a big thing, getting through the race distances and just getting stronger in that sense.
Is it power? Is it the neck? Is it the power steering? Is it the
no power steering? So just arms.
Right.
Just getting stronger.
So is it just more weights? What's the
heavy lifting heavier basically.
Just getting jacked.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah. I mean,
you see Joseph Newgarden? That's what I want to look like.
Yeah, basically. I'm just getting more and more square the more I come. But it's what needs to be done. I need to get stronger. I need to work harder on it. So that's something I've been working hard on. And then, I think the step up in obviously intensity and level. I think the first race, I was sort of 7 or 8 tenths off pole and I was pretty much on the back row. Same as the second race. It's so close now. Right. Those little details, everything that you can do makes a difference.
So do you think it was you were just, by the end of the race, you think you were having trouble turning or you were getting tired?
The end of the race isn't actually as bad because the tyres drop off a little bit and it gets a little bit easier in terms of the weight of the steering wheel. Obviously,
oh, interesting.
It's tough because it's the end of the race. But for me, it's actually like qualifying. But you put a brand new set of tyres on, you've got more grip on the car. Everything is faster, harder, and quicker. That's when I find it gets the hardest.
Oh, interesting. It's in the qualifying where the steering is the hardest. That's counterintuitive. Wow.
In terms of oval, have you done your first oval yet or no?
Not yet. I've got my first test in a couple of weeks.
How are you feeling about it?
Good. I don't know what I don't know, to be honest. I was talking to Marcus Armstrong about it. He was sort of saying the same thing. You see it, you watch it, and you kind of see, okay, that's what that looks like, but you don't know what it feels like to be sat in that cockpit and exactly how it all works. So I think that's something that until I do it, I'm not going to know, but I'm really looking forward to it, especially being here at the 500. It really does motivate you a bit more to push the oval.
Yeah, it looks insane.
Yeah, the experience of being here is unbelievable.
Yeah, we've been to F1 races, and then to see this, you're like, this is you feel like a gladiator.
Have you done the 500 before?
No, this is the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so Sunday will be amazing.
Yeah.
But we have done the 2-seater at Thermal, so we have felt, and everyone's like, oh, Indy is like a joke. It's all on the arms, the neck is nothing. But for us, it was just we felt like babies.
The neck is still hard, especially on. I think the good thing about the ovals is you can rest your neck.
Okay.
So they put a pad in, and then which way do they get?
Yeah. It's extra pad on the one.
You rest your neck. To be honest, I rest my neck a lot on the road courses as well.
Right.
But Formula One is incredible level of performance. The drivers are super humans in terms of the athletic side of it as well. But I think IndyCar is underestimated in terms of the physicality as well.
What about the social dynamic of the American kind of just within the drivers? There's such a stark kind of, there's more of a camaraderie, it feels like. And like that adjustment is it kind of like someone's being nice to you and you're like, wait, like what's going on? Like, are you actually being nice to me? Like what's going on? Like,
or are you playing mind games?
I think that's the Brit in me as well, though, because I think generally Americans are very friendly, and I'm like, okay, why are you speaking with me? But yeah, it's really friendly, really. I guess it's a little bit more relaxed. The pressure feels slightly less over here, or at least the external pressure feels a bit less. So people are a little bit more open, which is nice. I've got a really good relationship with my teammates. I've not really had it before where I've, socialized with drivers that I'm racing against outside of the track, whereas this feels very different in that sense. And yeah, I really, really enjoy it in that sense. And it helps because, like I said, I'm coming over from the UK. If I came into an environment where I felt like an outsider, I was on my own and it was that open, I probably wouldn't enjoy the racing. Then by not enjoying the racing, I wouldn't necessarily go as well. So it is ticking a lot of boxes in that sense. How's
Michael Andretti as a team owner?
He's awesome. Yeah. I mean, everyone in the whole team is awesome. Michael obviously being at the top of it is very cool for us all. For me to even coming here this weekend to be obviously doing INDY NXT is a big thing, but to be doing it with Andretti is just the big icing on the cake. It's such an amazing team, huge amount of history, heritage, and that they have your back, which is a big part of it.
We have to obviously ask how he compares to the other great sports person you worked for, American sports person you worked for, Caitlyn Jenner.
I mean, Caitlyn was awesome as well, to be fair. And in her own right, an incredible athlete and
and
Olympian. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She races as
well.
But it's different because in W Series, the teams we didn't really have, for example, Caitlyn's team didn't operationally run the car. They're all still run by W Series.
Right.
This is the first time I've been in a team like this that, is a top team where we really are making the difference at the factory, and I'm being able to be a part of that, which is really cool.
It's more collaborative.
So are you feeling like more involved in like from the ground floor with that kind of stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah. That must be a big kind of like, okay, I'm taking more kind of ownership of this. Like this is how I want my car, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And they've already made so many adjustments for me, which I've never experienced before. We're changing steering wheel grips because the steering wheel's a bit big for my hands. Yeah. And there's so many little things that they're so adaptive with. I'm very lucky to have a team like them.
Have you spent any time with Romain?
A little bit, yeah, because obviously with the DHL sort of sister, brother,
yeah, you guys are you're very like same
identical livery.
Exactly, it's like a big brother, little brother kind of car setup.
We have to ask, we asked Colton this, what's the Frenchest thing you've seen Romain do?
Do you know what's funny? I find, because I've raced in a few teams in Europe that are very French, and I don't find him that French anymore. I feel like he's really become he's living the Miami life. Like he's not that French.
He's in Miami.
So I've not really noticed anything with him.
To you, he's very American.
Yeah, that's the way I see it.
But to Colton, he's the French. He's
probably.
He's
Colton's like
he's Sacha Baron Cohen in that movie.
Nice.
Just in his RV eating snails and
So Jenny wants to know this. You've had over 50 podiums in your career. What's your champagne celebration like? Do you have a usual routine? Spray third, spray second. Do you have like a methodology that you go through? I'd
love to. I don't know if I've had 50 podiums, but I'll take that number. Definitely not. I'm all for that. I'll take that. Yeah, let's go with it.
What we like to say on this podcast is that our feelings don't care about your facts.
Okay,
so
that's like all that matters. Let's go. Yeah, perfect.
It feels like you should have 50 podiums.
Can I just put that in my Wikipedia page and then
definitely. Just trademark us, cite us. Exactly. Give us a shout out.
Champagne celebration. I had. I wouldn't say it's like a thing that I specifically do, but it's a few drivers do it where you, instead of just opening it, you smash it on the podium and it pops the cork. And
has that ever broken a bottle?
I've never done it. I have seen a few drivers walk off with glass in their hands. Lando Norris, I think, was one of them. So it's definitely got scope to go wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe
gotta have a fine touch. We got to ask, we've asked every driver this, what's your love language? Do you know what that is?
My love language?
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine about this. I used to say physical touch, but it's not because I hate being touched. So I think when anyone
like
says
the sound of that.
yeah, when anyone
right.
says what's your love language, so many people will be like, oh, it's physical touch. So I started saying that, and someone's like, it's not physical touch. You hate being touched. What are the options? Because there are a few.
It's physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, and acts of service.
Acts of service, 100%. Yeah, acts of service.
Gotcha. I think it's I feel like we
no
asked,
Brits say Brits don't physical touch.
We asked Callum, and he was like, oh yeah, it's not physical touch, definitely not. And then
he
he was
goes,
like,
Marcus is physical touch.
Marcus is his physical touch. He's always
touching me.
If there was an octagon MMA of
IndyCar.
NXT,
Yeah.
IndyCar, Indy NXT. Who do you think's that podium? Who's on that podium?
What, in MMA?
Yeah.
If there was going to be like an MMA tournament.
Well, I'll just go for probably. Actually, no. Maybe I'll go other way because I would have said gone for like the bigger guys, and so like Hunter McElroy. Firstly, Hunter McElroy's name is Hunter McElroy, so I feel like that should be up there anyway.
Yeah.
But he's like 6'7" or something, so I feel like he'll be quite a
mountain
good
vibes.
bet. I'll put myself in there because I'd imagine no one want to hit me, so I'll just that's like a safe.
And you're like, just wait a couple months. When I get
exactly.
my numbies.
Yeah, maybe not just now or like the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year, that's going to be.
Right.
So I'll put myself in there, and then let me have a think. Who else have we got? Maybe Christian Bogle is a big guy. He's not a small bloke, to put it lightly.
What do you love most about racing?
Ooh, there's quite a few factors for me. I think I always want to be in some sort of sport. So I think there's a competitive sporting nature of it just being, like I said, a sport.
Yeah.
But what I love with racing is you've got that adrenaline mixed with it. You've got the speed, you've got the team sort of effort, all these sort of different things, the technical side of it with the car, understanding that kind of come together. That also, for me, one of the big things is there's so many variables to get a result. It's not like a running race where if you run the fastest, you'll win the race. Like there's so many things that have to come together that when you do get a result, because it's, well, maybe not just for me, but for most people, it's not often, and it's you have more low moments than you do high. Those highs are so extreme. That's what,
yeah. And as we're artists too, and we pursue different things for the love of it, but like, I guess we're curious is, when you deal with all the bullshit and the politics and, probably having to market yourself to different people and all that. How do you maintain the love of it? All that.
That's got to be the big thing for me. I've got to still enjoy it and love it. And so, the pressure, everything is so high. I think if you don't enjoy doing what you're doing, I wouldn't be able to do it because, like I said, those low moments are so low. And also, like, the high moments are so few and far between at times that you've got to enjoy it. And that's where a big part of it's been when I actually came over to America. I didn't know how I was going to find it and if I was going to enjoy racing over here, and I would love it. And one of the big parts of that is I can have a bad result and I can leave and be like, wow, that was still awesome. I still got to race at this track, do this, do that. And I don't feel like the whole world's crashing down just because I've had a bad result. So, so far, everything about being over here helps me enjoy it more.
We heard you say after St. Pete, you're like, that's the only time I've crashed twice in a race, finished last, but then felt kind of good.
Well, you love the process, even if it doesn't, even if the result doesn't match what you want it to do.
Exactly that, and that's the thing is like, it's not all roses, but you've still got to be able to take some positives out of it as well.
Totally. If you had to do a Fast and the Furious heist, and you had to have some other drivers on your crew.
Doesn't have to be Indy NXT. Could be Indy
NXT. Anybody
from your career.
Who would you have in your crew?
In your crew.
Oh, okay. I reckon I would take. I'm going to go real random here. I'm going to take Colton Herta in there.
Okay.
Because I just feel like he's one of the most talented drivers out there, and I feel like he's just like a good person. I then want someone like to be like on the navigation, like where to go. So maybe I'll take a co-driver from rallying or something.
That's smart.
And then someone's got to steal the money, I guess, or steal everything. Then I'll go for like someone that no one wants to mess with. So maybe who would no one want to mess with? It can be anyone. Does it have to be?
It's got to be a driver, though.
It's got to be a driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick someone out of the sky. I've actually gone blank in terms of drivers. Let's go an F1 driver. Let's take Lewis. Put him in there.
Oh
No,
nice.
you think no?
He's got good. Well,
Yeah.
I've always an obvious bloke, but he's got also like he's dripping, isn't he? So,
Yeah.
He'll know what's still.
Yeah, but everyone will be like, I think Lewis Hamilton just robbed this bank.
Yeah. That's a good point.
He's the one in all LV. Yeah, he's
Actually,
pretty...
this is where I should have gone with this because he went to watch his brother at a British touring car race and he went
true.
incognito.
Yes, that's
And
true.
he like covered himself, but he had like bright pink Moncler trainers. And I was like, I don't know if that's a giveaway. Or...
Yeah, exactly.
We heard that you're also a bit of like a wine lover,
Yeah.
and you also like you're on the sim.
No.
You like to drink and drive on the sim.
Here's the question: is there like a sweet spot in this? It's like with golf. Sometimes people are like, it's like one or two drinks, you just loosen up. All of a sudden, you're flush on the ball. Like, is there a sweet spot with wine and sim driving? Not real driving.
Yeah.
To our young impression.
I think
Sim
also
driving. Fake.
Also, full disclosure, at home, not any professional.
Yeah.
So, we all obviously got sims, or not maybe just during lockdown, but for me in lockdown. And there have been moments where you kind of get home and you've had a few drinks and you're like, what am I going to do for the rest of the evening? And you think, I might give the sim a go. And there might be a sweet spot, but I think all I've learned is I can see why drink driving is a terrible, terrible thing.
Like it's immediately worse.
Yeah, definitely.
You've never beat your time after like 2 glasses of wine?
Maybe after a glass, but like I think after that there is like a
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a steep drop off.
All right, kids. Don't try to be like Jamie Chadwick.
Well,
and drink
I
and
could
drive.
probably do an alcohol awareness advert on that. Just be
Being
like, this is what happened.
Look at my time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look at my intervals.
Yeah.
I'm not getting purple sector.
Yeah.
So going for the rest of the year, like, what are your goals? What do you like hope to accomplish this year? Like, where what do you hope for the rest of the season?
I mean, I want to keep progressing, keep learning.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe I can be on the podium this year.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a really good team. I've got a really good car. So that definitely is a big part of it. But I really do think that if everything comes together, that we can get up there. So I want to be optimistic and I want to aim for that. And then, we'll see. I think, just keep working hard, keep kind of chipping away and progressing and see where we end up.
Yeah.
Any last? Should we ask the question of questions? We've been asking everyone, which Indy driver would you least like to date your sister?
Oh, I got asked this but for INDY NXT in the INDY NXT media day.
Yeah.
And I got the question wrong. I did it the other way around. I thought it was who would you like to? And so I said one of my teammates, James, and I was like, I said James, and he was like, oh, the question was wrong. So I basically threw him under. But least like IndyCar driver. I don't know them that many that well to be able to like fully throw anyone
Even
under there. And also, I actually guess sister, because they said your sibling and I had a brother, so I was like, okay.
Right.
You want to go W Series?
Yeah.
Nate, you want to name a W Series driver you'd least want to date your brother?
No, I don't.
But you did. But someone came to mind.
Oh, someone is very clearly in the mind.
You didn't have to think at all.
INDY NXT driver, IndyCar driver, I would say. Honestly, I'm struggling to think of names at the moment. I know we're here at the Indy 500, and I'm staring at a Chip Ganassi thing, and I keep just thinking.
Yeah, you're just going to name
Marcus
someone
Armstrong.
on the Ganassi team.
It's really harsh. So I'd say Marcus because I know him, and he won't.
Yeah, that's
take
a
it
good one.
offensive.
That's what Callum said.
Yeah.
So
That is definitely what Callum said. Any final questions?
you got any words of encouragement to people out there that are trying to pursue their dreams? And
probably nothing that will be actually useful, but I would say honestly, if you have a goal or a passion or whatever it is, then you have to pursue it. I think there's so many opportunities now in the world, especially with motorsport, for example. Give it everything and see what ends up happening.
hit the gym.
Yeah, and
Hit the gym.
Yeah,
If you're going to try and do Indy NXT, hit the gym or any form
You
of
got to put the
motorsport.
Chad in Chadwick.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
joining
Really.
us and good luck with the
Cheers.
rest of the season.